James Farren. I'm from American MMA. My prediction for the fight is, winning. I'm gonna win. I worked hard, trained hard. I'm ready.
I'm Mark Romero, fighting at EFC from Woodland Park, and I predict a finish in either round.
Welcome back to GPG 23, Appetite for Destruction. Next up, we have an amazing matchup between the rebellious Mark Romero against James Farren. Jackson, throw us through the tail of the tape.
Well, you're going to see both these fighters are essentially equal. Slight height advantage for Farren. He's got one mixed martial arts fight versus Romero's debut, and as you know, Adam, just getting through that first fight can be a huge boost to your confidence. So I give the edge to Farren on this one, but we will see.
All right, let's throw it up to our ring announcer, Stephen Peacock. Steve?
The referee for this fight will be Mr. Joe Pinto. Our first fighter is making his debut MMA public competition appearance. He stands at 5'6.5" and comes to us with an official weight of 136 pounds. Representing Extreme Fight Club out of Woodland Park, New Jersey, by way of the Bronx. The rebel in the blue corner, the rebellious Mark Romero. And to my right is his competitor. He comes to us with a 1-0 record, standing at 5'7" and weighing 136 pounds. He represents American MMA and wrestling out of Somerdale, New Jersey. Out of the red corner, James Farren.
Adam, I'm excited about this matchup. Farren versus Romero. Romero making his debut. As we discussed, Farren coming in with the slight edge on experience, but anything can happen inside this GPG cage.
Big reaction from the crowd. They're excited for this bout as well. Now, Jackson, correct me if I'm wrong, but you know a little bit about James Farren, yeah?
James and I have trained before. You'll notice undefeated professional fighter Joseph Lowry in Farren's corner alongside longtime New Jersey MMA standout Nick Catone, owner of American MMA and Wrestling. Farren has been in great hands his entire career, but not to take away from the Extreme Fight Club pedigree of Mark Romero here. And Mark's doing a very good job of just being super aggressive with his hands, keeping Farren against the cage, but Farren firing back with some strong knees. Those take a lot out of you.
Like you said, you were talking about the first fight and getting those jitters out. It definitely takes some out of you, but Mark Romero is faring very well this early in the first round of his first fight.
He looks very comfortable. He's not glove shy at all. He's very aggressive. He's looking to finish this fight and put Farren away in the first. Both fighters seem to have, sort of gotten that initial spasticness out of their system, a slower, more relaxed pace, but you see both fighters now feeling each other out. Nice light left hand there from James Farren. He's a very heavy-handed individual.
Definitely looked like it rocked Romero, but you know what? He came back firing strong, pinning Farren against the, Romero pinning Farren against the cage.
Both fighters taking a little bit of a break against the cage here. A furious pace here in the first round of their bantamweight fight at GPG 23.
And the bantamweights always come out active, heavy, and ready to go, and this is no different.
It's a great weight class, Adam. They have gas for days, but they still have a little bit of that knockout power in their hands, so we often see some really brutal matchups in the bantamweight division.
As we saw from Farren earlier, definitely rocked Romero, but Romero's got his, he's got his wits about him with accidental low blow from Romero.
These things happen, Adam, especially tied up against the cage close like that. It's very easy to misfire and strike your opponent legally in the groin. Farren will have up to 5 minutes to recover. Clock is stopped.
Like you said, definitely not intentional, but again, when you're pressing against the cage like that, it's not like you're more feeling out than anything. You really can't eye where you're throwing your strike. You have to feel it out, and these things happen, like you said.
Yeah, especially when you're bringing that knee straight up the middle. There's not a lot of space between your opponent and you. So often the strike goes between the goalposts. These things happen. That's why we wear cups. Farren seems to be recovered, but definitely playing smart and taking his time to fully recover before getting back to action here with 52 seconds left in our first round.
And here we go, touching gloves and back at it. Both fighters trading their kicks, now trading some punches. Farren coming out with a nice punch combination. Romero firing back with his own.
This is actually a pretty rare situation here with both fighters coming out in the southpaw stance. About 1 out of every 10 humans being left-handed. You know, I don't know what that would be. 1 out of 100 MMA fights would be southpaw versus southpaw. I think that's how the math works out, but again, very rare. And most fighters are, you know, whether you're orthodox or southpaw, whether you lead with your left or your right hand, you're used to fighting somebody who leads with their left hand. So this can be a little bit disorienting for both fighters as the range and the timing is a little bit off when your opponent has the opposite stance. Farren with a nice trip here to cinch the takedown at the end of our first round.
Solid first round from both fighters.
That's a tough one to score.
Very tough. Romero didn't show much jitters.
No, I'm very impressed with Romero. He came out guns blazing and just looking to put Farren away, but Farren very tough.
All right, Jackson, let's take a look at the replay real quick. Both fighters trading punches here.
And that's sort of the story of this first round. Farren trying to fight from the outside, but Romero really working his way in and blitzing. And here is that groin shot, accidental, that took Farren to the canvas for a few minutes, but Farren firing back with that takedown at the end of the first round. This fight is really anybody's going into the second round.
Great first round to start this contest. Going into the second round, anybody's ball game at this point.
Be interesting to see what adjustments both fighters make for the second round. I would imagine Farren's corner would be telling him to be a little bit more aggressive with that left hand and use better footwork, not just standing in front of the more compact, more aggressive Romero.
Romero just landed a right hook flush, but Farren walked right through it. That's a tough kid.
Very tough, very tough. Romero's got a very nice counter right hook. Farren's got to be careful. You know, with more experience, he'd see that coming, but he needs to sort of set the trap off, use that jab at range to get Romero to fire off that counter right hook, evade, and then come back into counter.
Looked like Romero was trying to pull a little bit of an Anderson Silva, standing against the cage and inviting his opponent, but now you got Farren taking advantage, throwing knees and thudding to the body.
Farren's very impressive here with his knees. You don't see that kind of power from bantamweights in knees, especially at such a close range without a lot of room to accelerate. Romero, very tough, not showing any signs of damage, but I can tell you those hurt a lot.
And like you said, you've trained with Farren before. How is he in the gym?
He's very tough. He came in, he's just scrappy. You know, one of those guys that came onto the mats with some, you know, street experience. He's tough. He doesn't mind getting hit. He's very raw, though. He needs the tools and the techniques to really sharpen up his game, and he's been working with Nick Catone at American Mixed Martial Arts and Wrestling and really learning the craft of mixed martial arts, and we're seeing some of that hard work paying off here. Although Romero, a very tough opponent,
especially for his first outing. Both fighters clinching against the cage. Farren looking for some room to explode on Mark Romero, the rebellious.
You know, this is where Farren's been very, very strong here, holding Romero against the cage. Not only is he controlling the pace of the fight, but he's actually been effective at dealing damage, and that's something you don't see very often is fighters who can effectively deal damage while pressing their opponents against the cage. Oftentimes people just use that to stall and win by octagon control, which
Farren is firing away with those rights. You can see Mark Romero is a little bit bruised in his face, clearly from those rights that was just exchanged against the cage. Romero looking to reverse, but 10 seconds left.
You know, that's something that you don't get in the practice room. You know, as hard as you're sparring, your training partners are not out there to kill you.
No.
And I can tell you that when you get into the cage, your opponent is trying to kill you.
And we will be right back at GPG 23. Appetite for... Welcome back to GPG 23, Appetite for Destruction. Jackson, run us through this replay for us.
Well, here we go. A lot of action here in the second round. The story of the second round, James Farren holding Romero against the cage and inflicting some pretty brutal strikes to the head. You don't, as we were saying, you don't really see that kind of damage inflicted against the cage. Oftentimes, fighters will use the cage as a means to control sort of the pace and the position of the fight, but rarely use it to inflict damage. So, very impressive skill set here displayed by James Farren, but Romero maybe losing that second round, but very tough and still in this match, still very dangerous.
On to the third and final round, James Farren against Mark the Rebellious Romero. James Farren putting it on hard and heavy early in this round, looking for the stoppage.
And this is exactly what Farren needs to do. Fight from the outside and keep that head moving.
Ooh, Romero fires back with a hard right, but James Farren doesn't want any decision in this contest. He wants to finish this quickly and abruptly now.
Farren looks to have, spent a little bit of his gas tank there with that blitz. Romero really needs to get in his face and push the pace while Farren is trying to recover. This is a prime opportunity for Romero to get in there, score heavy, and possibly finish this fight. But another big left hand from Farren puts Romero up against the cage. No answer for those strikes but to move his head and just try to survive another moment.
Phenomenal fight thus far between James Farren and Mark Romero.
Farren's been finding a home for that big left hand here in this third round.
Looking like Mark Romero is looking for that home run right hook.
Well, as I was saying sort of earlier in this fight, James really needs to use that jab and just sort of tap, 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 and fire off that left hand. Tap, tap, bang, tap, tap, bang. And he's been having some success with that strategy here in the third round. If he continues to just wear away at Romero, he will either finish this fight or come away the decisive victor with only about a minute 15 left to go.
Farren's doing a great job reading Romero's head movement and timing his strikes. Just a minute left in this fight. Nice takedown
from James Farren.
James Farren.
Romero got a little too aggressive, and Farren made him pay for it. Quick level change. Romero essentially threw himself onto James's shoulder. And James is a strong guy. Big lift, big hip explosion. Ends up now with full mount with about 30 seconds left in this third round. Romero's really gonna need to pull out a miracle if he wants to survive this round, let alone win the fight.
If judges weren't sure before, it looks like that James Farren might have put the stamp on this fight, now in full mount and punishing his opponent. Ten seconds left.
You know, Romero's doing a good job of sort of entangling Farren here in the mount, shutting down his offense, but it's not going to win in the fight. It's really just a stalling tactic. As we finish this third and final round of Romero-Farren, Farren seems to have pulled ahead, and I think I speak for both of us that we'd both be surprised with any other thing than a Farren victory here.
Let's throw it up to our ring announcer, Steve Peacock, for the official decision of Mark Romero, James Farren. Steve?
After 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Krawick scores the fight 29-28. Judge Caroline scores the fight 30-27. Judge Sinclair scores the fight 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision from the red corner, James Farren.
Beautiful display of striking and precision there from James Farren, as well as some aggressive cage work. Here's Bob Maloney with our victor.
James Farren's beautiful performance. Romero put up a hell of a fight. It was a great fight. You go to 2-0. Tell me quickly how you feel. You were landing a bunch of punches there. He was kind of playing, ducked up those punches. How you feel right there?
Yeah, I feel good, but it was a tough fight. He took a lot of hits from me. Got tired. I got some good corners, good trainers. All my fans who supported me, thank y'all very much. Yeah.
Well, I know you're rolling over there with my man Nick Catone and Joe Lowry, so I know in the room they're kicking your tail. Made it easy to make it feel easy coming in here after being in that room with those animals?
Yeah, some true animals, but yeah, it was good. I need some more training, some more work on myself, but it was good.
Well, you're 2-0, you're an exciting fighter. We're looking forward to you coming back to GPG doing your thing again. James Farren!
James Farren walking away with a textbook decision victory here at GPG 23, Appetite for Destruction.
Jackson, let's take us through this replay for us.
Yeah, and again, story of this fight, James Farren, good cage control, good damage against the cage at close range, good damage from the outside range. Romero had found a home for that counter right hook in the first round, but working his way back into the second and third, had no answer for Farren's onslaught. More GPG 23 action when we return.